So the U.S. bond market just opened, and just before it opened, the euro popped up above here. And if you had your sell limit right on the edge of that, you're a scalper. And there's news coming out on the on this Canadian dollar, so I'm gonna look to get in on a plunge here. So, you got 10 minutes before news, and now they're trading the cash debt in Chicago. Here was the pullback for the entry here, and this is the coming after 114 on this euro. Here's the 1 hour pound, looking for the spike up. So if I wanted to sell that thing, I would put in my sell tickets like this. This is a 1 hour sell. So if I sell a psycho rally, that's 1 hour. And waiting for the stock market to open up in an hour and 10 minutes. It's going to be the big excitement here. Yeah, so the news is coming, and it's really just about trying to get in and out of these markets without too wide a stop. So here's these plunge banks I wrote. That's basically at a rate of 10 pips per hour. So 20 pips deep in 2 hours. And this is 30 and 3, 40 and 4, 60 and 6. So that's pretty much forget it and set it trading. Because there's nothing you can do about these markets. They go up and down. It's classic. That's all you get out of this stuff. So, I guess the trend doesn't matter so much for the Australian dollar, because you could have sold last night, could have bought this morning. When one thing leads to another, and the markets are very schizophrenic, so you need to see the market from the market's perspective. Illogic, schizophrenic. Keep retesting. Markets are very insecure. They keep retesting. It's like a guy at the gym doing 24 reps. And he get his muscles built up. But I don't know. I don't know what happens later on. So you have to be at least a little bit flexible. Just don't want to be muscle bound. Okay, it looks like. So they pop up here, and now we're waiting for the news out of Canada. If they can plunge it down, then I will make money on a retracement strategy. So take it down 60 pips and rocket it back up. That's the whole trade plan. And when they take the British pound through the high of the day, through the high yesterday, they pop it through, sell at the edge for the kickback. It's that simple. But you could trend trade one of these and scalp the other guys, and you can but it's really a circus. If your trade plan lasts an hour, though, you don't have to worry about it. If you have a 4 hour orders out there, then you're taking 4 hours more of exposure risk. So you have to get used to that. It's like taking an airplane flight. 9 hour flight, you could die. So that thing's on the ground, stuff could go wrong. So that's what trading's like. It's like getting on a flight, and but you don't get to pick the time the plane leaves. That's the only problem. So that's the disturbing part, is that you are not in control of the flight schedule. And the schedule is constantly, like if you went to the airport, all of a sudden those screens just rolled over. And I mean, the times are just like, just 40 hours away, 148 hours away. The plane's not going to come in for, you're never going to see it at that price, at that airport. So if these are airports, if the vertical prices on here are airports, then Here's like a airport in the sky up here. So you're just really trading with these kind of like creating locations for planes that may never come by. But if they need to land, they can pick up your orders, and then you're going to get on that plane, and then you're going to ride it for, say, 40 minutes, 40 seconds. And the thing is that it's not only like airplanes going through airport locations, it's also all of a sudden the plane's going Mach 8, then it's going like, like a crop duster. If you can imagine that, okay, bad scheduling, different size planes, different speed planes. That's what Forex is to me. And so the landing strip or the location, you can see the thing coming in, then it's going to fuel up, then it's going to go the other way. So get aerial view of of course, you'd have to turn the whole chart vertical to get the kind of, but you're marching through time. It's the flight path of the current opinion on price. Okay, so 4 minutes to news are firming up here. We're down at the edge. We're down. We're low. We're kind of in fair value. We could go either way here because this is the retest. 1 hour is firming up here. And all these wicks are really the pounding of that price. They just keep pounding that. This is the 100. This is a round number. This is 20 pips below. So if you put your orders in here, you made at least this. This is constantly going on. So, but it's just like kind of a little feeding frenzy. Just keep dipping in there like this. Buy limit sitting at close. They come to your price. They go almost 20 pips below. So there's a 20 pip window to make 20 or 30. Retest of doji. You got in here, then you got in here again. Got in here for a little bit. And you're out. Resistance, support. Support. So if we ever come back, which we didn't, if we came back down here, we want to get in. Get in seriously here, like really load up. Just like here, we're trying to load up just before the news here. So if I have to buy at the market, it's going to be now. Just before the news, you could buy one for good luck there. And that's but that's just how it is. There's no getting around the fact that the markets are spiky, they're noisy. That's your friend. Noise is your friend here. That's how you make synthesizer sounds out of noise. It's just sawtooth, square wave. You have different textures, and so the market has different textures. Okay, news in 1 minute. So it looks the spread's probably going to be pretty nasty here on the CAD, and we could actually smash down, hopefully, into my orders. But we have to hope. We have to be optimistic. That's all you got when you're trading this stuff. They say you shouldn't hope, but I'm hoping they fill me. It's like, I'm hoping I can get on the train. So there's two kinds of hope in the market: hoping you don't lose, hope you don't get stopped out, and hoping they actually come and prove you right as far as the price that you picked. But you have to go with the basket. You have to go with the spread. You cannot expose yourself to risking one idea, risking everything on one idea. Okay, news out in 5 seconds. So initial spike up possibly, and then reassess, maybe get in a retest. Okay. It should go up, you would think, right? At least 10 pips. Oh, maybe it's going to plunge now. So here's a moment of truth. Right here is where we could go either way. It's always like this. Right about this time of day. Very frisky. And the British pound could plunge. So I'm really a plunge. I like to buy in a plunge. I'll sell if it spikes up too, but I would be selling like last night. Here's the sell. 20 pips above the... but now we're down in support. We've already got this big accumulation. All these wicks are accumulation. So you just have to sit tight. So I'd say this is the train, this is the airport, the train station here, and we're getting on board the dollar CAD for at least a 20 pip up, and then there's always going to be a chance to get in. So if you're trading very actively, small, and you're in and out, you're getting out because you know you can get right back in. So if you take a little bit of money, come back, take a little money, come back. If you're really organized and good at it, I guess you're just, when you go away from the screen and come back in a half an hour, as soon as you see it, you go, oh, it's obvious what's going to go on here. If you're staring at it too long, it's just like, if you stare at, like if you're trying to pick out a color, you need to look at something that's the opposite to reset your eyes. You can't really see what's going on because you're just too close to it. You come back and realize that, oh no, euro's going up. So that was the breakout, the pullback on the 1 hour. So if you were going to get on this thing, you could already see in your mind's eye on the 5 minute, you're going to see a breakout, pull back to the breakout. There's a doji on the 5 minute. You have to imagine that. Looking at the hourly, like if you're looking at somebody, you have to make some assumptions about them, right? If they got two legs and they're walking, you're thinking, well, those are original legs and everything, and so you have to make assumptions along the way there. All the things you're not supposed to do in real life, you need to do in trading. Like, you can't assume anything. No, you have to. Otherwise, you couldn't build your trade plan. You could not build your style of entry. How could you even survive it? Okay, looks like CAD's eager to rally. And the British pound looks like it's right behind. So I've seen this before. I've seen the CAD and the pound kind of do a tug of war. So CAD goes up, pound goes up. CAD, and they like this, you get an even rhythm. I think Australia could smash down. So they trapped the bulls up there on the Australian dollar. They trapped them right at the borderline here. And they trapped these guys for the moment. This looks like it has to form a little zigzaggy triangle before it can really take off. And actually, if dollar CAD goes up, usually Australia, US goes down. So if you play these two guys against each other, and then you have the backup plan is to trade the British pound on a plunge or a rally. It's a very huge mover, and that thing can move 100 pips like it did yesterday. It just smacked down into the good old round number, and there was a double bottom there, and there was about a 40 pip entry window, 38 pips, 30 pips, 32 pips. Just need to have all those different size orders ready to go. You launch them, you walk away, you set it, forget it, and you got money. So it's really, if you don't feel like you're getting filled, just bust up another currency pair. Of course, realizing if you drop the 20 pip deep in 2 hour on the guppy, that may get filled in the next hour. So yeah, very volatile markets. If you have a hard written script that runs the same depth, you might run the 60 pips in 6 hours. So at least if you trade the guppy, you could trade this one here, 60 by 6. That's just 10 pips per hour, 240 pips a day, every 24 hours. Yeah. So that would be another a way to approach the entries. But yeah, in the end, it's just terribly boring, and all this chop that's going on now, where things are just queuing up. There's a lot of money there. There's 40 pips last night, up and down on the pound. Keep hammering off this painfully obvious round number, and here is an attempt again for the dollar CAD to make a rally out of the hole here. 10 minutes after the news. 5 minutes after the news. So here comes the 5-minute traders. I go to the 5-minute chart. You can see what they're thinking. They're thinking that this 20-yard line is the place to get in. So they're up on the trade right now. The scalpers are. That's their shoulder. Right here is the shoulder they're living off of right there. So that's. Now we're looking at bust this 20-yard line here. Take it to the 100. Then I'll be getting in on kickbacks if we get any. Sometimes these things just take off like a rocket. Looks like British Pound's ready to queuing up for a big launch here. So you go back to the 1 hour on this one, so you can see the double bottom on the 1 hour, and it's like about to take out the closing price here on the it's about to cut through that, so that's going to be a big deal if we close above that. And stock market's going to open up, and that'll be more volatility. And but dollar CAD, it's down 300 pips in 3 days. So I think we could easily go up at least 5 pips here, if not 20, if not 40. But it's going to be a rocky road. It's very much not a straight line there. Australian dollar. I think pulled back about 50 pips last night to get in. Right after the close here. 50 pips, look at that. How stupid is that? Right back to the starting gate. So either you had the buy stop bot running on top here, trying to get long, or you got the buy limits here, or you're just buying every hour. You just keep buying every hour. If you're buying on the clock and you're buying on stops based on the volatility, and you're buying on limits where you're saying if it drops 20 pips in 4 hours, I buy 20 pips in 4 hours. These limits are getting filled, so you're getting filled in 3 different styles of fill. Buy stop stacking up here. Your buy limits start at support. Taking this whole area, and you're buying every hour. So 3 entry styles, 1 move, 1 direction. Yeah, you're just risking it, Say risking the hell. So here we go. Getting ready to take some profits here. Okay. Hopefully by the Dow opens, we'll be at the round number. I can take something off and reload. Or I could just put buy limits in now. So this is where I would not buy at the market. I would just come in and say, you know what? I want to add to it, but not from a buy at the market standpoint. I just come in with, hopefully these are going to run because the market's pretty damn frisky right now. And that's my 15 minute, and the next one is a half hour here. Here's a half hour, and then here's, I'm just going to sit with the half hours. So I'm not in yet, but why chase it? I'm ready to get out. If I was long, I'd be getting out. But we're definitely at the bottom of this move. It's a 1 hour chart. A lot of people are going to bail right here at this. I have to say that is the obvious exit right here. Next exit's going to be up here. This doji. See how that's just top became a bottom here? So everybody's going to be bailing right up in here and we come creeping back up. It's always a long time when you're in the market. It's a long time anytime. But when the market moves fast, time seems to stand still. Because your mind's trying to make up for the gap between how fast it's moving compared to how slow it's moving. So, at least for me, it's kind of distortion. The velocity kind of distorts your perception of how much time's gone by because it's just moving so blistering fast, up and down. So as we get near the top of the hour, I'm compelled to get the hell out. Because usually there'll be a dump. If they rocket this up, they'll dump it, and then you have to reload. So it's always a constant swaying. You're like on a boat, and it gets windy out, and you're getting somewhere, but you're definitely tilting. Tilt-a-whirl. They used to try to replicate that feeling at the amusement park, which I thought was... Why did amusement parks ever... Is that what, before they invented drugs? Let's go to the amusement park and let's get on some ride where we throw up. I guess if you couldn't afford to legally drink and throw up, you would just go to the amusement park and barf on somebody because the ride was just too brutal. Amazing. I guess they want people want to replicate the caveman effect of being scared out of your mind all day, wondering when somebody's going to come up and bash you with a brick. But that's what Forex is like. If you're in a position and you didn't even know that there was news coming out, imagine you didn't know that at certain times of day, of course, maybe you're better off because if you didn't know there was news coming out, you wouldn't have an opinion of like, gee, I wonder what the news means. And the fact that the markets just go into like a real wild mode, and you got your wild scripts out there, and you're making money, well, you just don't care, I guess. Yeah, so this is the kind of a patient program here. The 6 hours to fill, 4 hours to fill, and if nothing fills, come back here in 4 hours and punch the button again. That's about it. You have to have a little bit of gauge, though. If you are going to trade these wild pairs, you need to have like the thing built to buy 100 pips deep. So if you had a script that ran 100 to 200, 300, just some monster, I called one Bigfoot once because I just wanted to make it look like your orders are getting in on the shoelaces. You know, you're coming in at this angle, and the toe of it is the master stop. And so I had a Bigfoot script, and I had to have something that would make me feel like, okay, I know what this is going to do. I know kind of what the story is behind the behavior. So yeah, we're waiting for this dollar CAD to go up. Let's zoom out and look. See, we found this giant cavern hole down here. This is the big, but just before the sell-off, look at this rally. Above this round number, psychotically spike up here all the way into this triangle. So you revisit this triangle way up here amazingly. There's a perfect flag triangle. What have you? We revisit that from the floor of it, from the floor all the way to here. So this is where all your orders go. And this is how many orders you need to have in here. An order for every bottom. Order for every top. No fill, but you filled on these. And these little itty-bitty bottoms become tops in here. You almost filled on that. So this is the fairest value inside the apex of that triangle. There's no other... here's the other... You're looking for another triangle that it fell out of. This is not a very big triangle, but yeah, that's just screaming up there. Never even formed a triangle. Here's a 20 pip bounce off round number. So a lot of these are just time trades. You're selling up into this. This is why patterns are bullshit. It's about order flow. Like if you just started placing sells here, you need to have different strategies. Sell stop, sell stop, sell stop. Yeah, there's probably a triangle inside. This is 1 hour. There's probably a 15-minute triangle up here. But unless you've got multiple times and multiple screens and you're like running super like serious, this is my 15-minute guy here. He's on a 15-minute desk. Here's my half-hour guy. I mean, Jesus, you know, you got to be realistic. Like, are you really going to be there for this setup on the 15 inside of this? And no, you just put your sell limits up here because you want to trade off this doji. Doji's plenty of drama. Besides, this is the damn doji here. You know, fuck this triangle stuff. If you get a triangle cluster like that, that's great. But how often does this happen? How often do you get this insane triangle and then a meltdown? They just keep poking into this round number like that. Come on, down to 30? Jesus, talk about round number. Not $1.29, $1.30. These markets are stupid for stupid people. So you take all your Gartleys and go home. That's what I'm trying to say. Here you got this stuff going on, right? Get all day to look at this thing. Look at this double bottom. Look at this retest. Are you kidding me? Come on. Closing prices. Look at its support over here. Gosh, I wonder if that's going to be resistance on the way back. And look at this messy ass. I mean, you really got to have a plan for this stuff. The painfully drifting upward channel that just churns. But it's a range deal. It's a range trade. There's your pitchfork center. Here's your... So, but look at the closing price. Obviously. Just say no to just say no to candles. Okay, so we're almost at my target here. I'm thinking about just gonna die waiting for the scalp. Look at this thing. How long do you think that was gonna go on for? See, this is the next trend line of break. It's just about patience. I mean, this is a 1 hour chart. You gotta have a little bit of patience. But yeah, after the scalp, then we get back into the test. And last night, I bought down here at psycho level. Look how they closed right at the bottom here. And here's your channel. I'm gonna copy this over. Same stuff, different. Look at outside the channel. That's where I got in. Got in when everybody was like, "Oh, this shit's going down." Kind of hope it's okay. Dollar yen's going up now, so we're getting a little bit of. Getting some fuel on that dollar. I think we pull back on this Australian. I'm going to get in. Hopefully there's some stupid news coming out. Can only hope and pray. Anyways, dollar CAD down 300. Looking for a bounce. Bounce that thing, damn it. Plus we have this internal top become a bottom here. Here's the top inside the bottom. This is a classic. If you look into this top right here, that's the doji inflection and it's the double bottom. The buy stop bots just got filled here. They're long, but you want to buy down here also. So you need to buy every time it closes down, you're buying. So you buy. You may need a wide stop, or maybe you're just getting stopped out. Doesn't matter. Then you got the buy stops here. Buy stop, or at least you can have it in your mind. You can see what a robot's doing. But you want to be in before the robot. Then you buy in a limit on this retest here. This is where they come after the guy that's got too tight a stop, or just trapping a bear. But this is this is obviously the doji. You close in the middle. Close in the middle. Close in the middle. You close at fair value. That's what just a doji is. It's fair. Everybody is. It's not actually confusion. It's not indecision. It's just lack of it's a balance. Everybody agrees. Then we go into the where there's a order imbalance, and then you fill the hole. So whatever this vacuum that's been forming here, and here's the classic like 3-pip trap. You trap in this rooftop here. Then they pull it all the way back. The sell stops are stacking up here though as it's going up. So you trade it from both directions. It's going to have a certain look to it. Okay, dollar yen's going up, and they're taking the dollar CAD with it. I gotta go turn on my other screen here. Got my screensaver just kicked on. Yeah, we put this hammer in on the dollar Swiss I'm looking at now. So I'm going to put some fuel onto this. Dollar yen's about to break out. Take it through the high of the week. And that's really been, of course, that they took that dollar yen right down to 107. Like, just classic. Absolutely the most cliche move in the world. So a lot of this stuff is like that. British pound made it to a round number, bounced off last night. Still waiting for euro to make it to 114 and beyond. 115 is the next obvious target. If you look at the these daily charts here, but looking at the way this thing's behaving here, you can see that the goal is to take out the high of the month. Keep going up. Start coming after this big void up here. So this is going to be quite the fill. If they take out this wick here, of course, look at this battle zone. This is scalporama. This is nothing but some insane weekly doji, and then kabashola. So this is the trade. This is the scalp trade where you've got this all peppered up, and in one day they make you at least 80 pips without having to be there. Here you selling here, selling here, selling here, selling here. Sell, 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 sell. Everything above that on the daily, bash. And if you can see it coming, which you should be able to see, this wick was the entry for the scalp. Another sell. Now here's where they just punish you to get way up, but you've got sell limits here that haven't been filled. So it's really about placing about, well, if you had to build your own, bunch of houses, you're going to have the model home, and then you're going to have the how big a house you want, You have about 20 houses, but you only sell 8. That's how it is. When you go to the hotel, why are the rooms so expensive in the hotel? Because you're paying for the rooms they didn't rent. If they had full rental, they'd be like, everybody's going to get in cheap, but they don't know, so they're bidding it. Like if you come in, they have to put in a price that's, of course, it can be based on ability to pay. You pull up in a limo, and who knows? I don't know if I guess it's legal to do anything. You give them a price, right? You don't see them scream. You just go with it. But that's what the market's doing. It's throwing a price out there. They're offering it up. The offer is what you pay. By the offer, you sell the bid. So they're offering it up, and then they bid it down. So the offer is the ask. That's above the bid, and it's that stupid. There's nothing magical about this stuff. But it is fun to put your, your Tonka trucks on these charts, put your Gartleys on all this stuff and really get it all dramatized. But this trend line here, looking to break this trend line to our CAD. Look at this thing just tread water here. Here's an amazing pattern. Let's tread water in this wedge. Tread water. Look at the pending drop on the 1 hour. Sell limit right there. Nice ratio on that. But you have a scalp built in. Plus you have orders here that never filled. It's a lot of work to, like, if you're going to risk 2% of your account, then lay 50% risk. No, if you're going to risk 2%, it's just a joke. It's how much money you got in the account. If you got $1 million, yeah, risk 2%. If you got $1,000 in there and you're going to risk 20%, but you probably only get filled on 10%, but you have actually 20, just really good orders out there, and you only get partially filled. So maybe you're risking 5% because you only got partially filled. I think the problem is nobody wants to place an order that won't get filled, and nobody wants to. People want to get at the market because they're like, oh, I don't want to miss this move. But sure, but you wouldn't trade a standard lot at the market. I don't know, unless you're just going to be in for the next 20 minutes. Or who really wants to walk away from who wants to put on a giant position with a $500 stop? I don't care. I guess I don't care how much money you have. $500 to me, I mean, actually, to a rich person, that's a lot of money because that's how they got to be rich. They're worried about $500. So it's hilarious. People talk about money, and it's all relative. If you got $1 million and you've got ass cancer, you don't much care about the $1 million. So it's all relative. And these markets are constantly offering up, logical scenarios that may not look pretty, but they make money. So, waiting for the trend line break here. I'm about ready to get out. Very, very disappointed with the zigzaggy nature of the market. That's why you just have to come back to it. So, I'm not waiting for the top of the hour. So we had this 4-minute scramble. We could get a spike here, and then I probably would dump just something and reload. Because there's no sense of being inside these markets unless you're always taking something off the table every hour, every day, every week. There's no way in hell. You can look back on any chart and see like 10,000 pip moves and say, well, if I would have bought down here, yeah, but you wouldn't. You wouldn't have stayed in. I mean, if you were up, if you had a $1,000 account, your account's at 30 grand, and you're getting out, right? Now, if you stayed in that trade for the next 5 years, you might be at 300 grand, and you'd say, oh, I should have stayed in there. But that's ridiculous. Because if you should have, you would have. It's ridiculous to torture yourself with that kind of. Because as you're thinking about that, there's a trade in front of you right now that you could be on. That you could be at least placing orders to get picked up along the way. So any of these uptrends that people talk about, you're always a counter. It's ridiculous to say that you're a trend trader, a trend continuation trader, or something, whatever it is, because in the end you have to get in on the opposite side of the market. You're always going to be selling high. It doesn't matter if it's a scalp or it's the top of the year and you just happen to pick it. So it's just completely ridiculous that for you to get on the train, it needs to initially go your way so that it doesn't back up and end up going to the concentration camp. It has to get out of the damn station. So, but realizing that these trains back up into the station again is the whole key. There is no such thing as the thing getting there. on time and without like completely being the most inefficient path possible. It's efficient for the market because it needs to fuel itself by backing up. It has to back up and get some fuel because it keeps flying by the gas pump, the diesel. What do they run these trains on? Diesel? They used to put wood in there. I don't know. They used to put wood in there and get a bellows, and when I go faster, you just put more air into it. Okay, here it looks like the 4-minute pop here. So this is my scalpish exit if I got out here. And then I just reload for the pullback. And just hope for the best. Hope and change. The change is the money. The hope is the trend line. It's called trend line hope. It's the only way to go. They say hope's not a strategy. It is, though. It's an emotional strategy. That's the emotional intelligence, is the ability to not have an emotion. Especially in this garbage. I mean, these markets, you just wait forever. Okay. I'm ready to get out. Here's the 5-minute trader who's got the ball. They've been riding this thing for a few bars now. So we got top bottom on the, we pull back here to this. So we got the top bottom. If you're a scalper, this is your version of resistance becomes support for 5 minutes, and that's a doji, and you either got a buy stop there or you pulled the trigger, and that was your chance to get in. Or you bought the retest of these. This is the shoulder. This is your head. And you're long right now. And your goal is to start chopping this stuff, taking this stuff out, and probably bail here or bail on the way. Get off at every 20 pip train station. You get the hell off this train. And then just reload because you know it's coming back. Probably come back to here. It might plunge down to here. But it's got to go like this. It's never going to be these people with the other problem with the Gartley is that it's like so sharp, right? So people have this thing, well, it's going to do this and then it's going to come. Like, well, yeah, but it's really going to be like this. Yeah, it's not going to be. Market's not going to do this. It's going to do this. It's going to torture people. That's the grand conspiracy, right? Forget the flat earth. Okay, here we back to the round. So very much you want to get out here if you're scalping. We still have the Dow Jones to open. It could be a big backlash down in, a plunge down in. All right, just about to get out. It's up against the floor here. This is the floor that becomes a ceiling. But if it goes into auction mode, it's just going to rip right through this window here. I'll hang with this like for 10 more seconds. I'm getting the hell out right now. So here we go. Now we're going to go flat and we're going to reload. Now this is where it's almost like getting in at the market. It's a half-hour order. There's a half hour. Here is the 20 pips deep in 2 hours because I got to go do something. I can't watch this stuff. Anyways, that's my trading style. Buy low, sell high. Sell high or buy low.